Welcome, everybody. My name is Jesse Arrett. I'm the CEO and founder of Simplify, and thank you for joining us for solving the problem with QuickBooks for vacation rentals. As I said, my name is Jesse Arrett, and I founded Simplify several years ago after spending a little north of 10 years in public accounting, most of that with international accounting firm PricewaterhouseCoopers, prior to becoming the CFO of a real estate investment and short-term rental management company. It was a global real estate and short-term rental management company based out of Denver, Colorado. And that's really where I got my first introduction to the unique business needs of real estate investment, and specifically the short-term rental industry. And also started to tailor and actually implemented Sage Intacct as a customer when I was the CFO at Cuvée, and again began to develop a lot of the things that we still use today to support our clients at Simplify. So a little bit about us and Simplify. First, our mission is to improve our clients' lives, first and foremost. Being a small business owner is certainly hard work. Being a small business owner myself, I certainly understand that. Being a small-time business owner in the short-term vacation rental industry can even be more challenging. Dealing with guests, dealing with owners, and so our goal as your consultants and/or accounting team is to help you sleep better at night, take the burden of accounting off your plate, and achieve better financial success. We know that you have goals, you're in business to make money. And so that's what we're hoping to help you do, and hopefully achieve greater results by having our involvement. We do that through leveraging technology. That's going to be obviously a focus of what we're going to talk about today, but then also providing exceptional outsourced accounting and consulting and finance services. So, to an overview of our services, everyone that comes to work with us, and really this begins with our first discovery call in the sales cycle, is going to be working with our VR consult team. This is really where we're going to begin to learn and understand your business, the unique business needs of your company, and understand what's the best technology what's the best accounting system, solving AP, HR, payroll, etc. How do we set you up for success from a technology perspective to leverage and optimize technology to be as efficient as possible? Second, a big part of how we do that and leverage technology is using our VR platform. A VR platform is our integration platform that connects your property management system, your merchant processor, your perhaps breezeway with your accounting system that is going to automate much of your accounting processes, support trust accounting, obviously, support streamlining those owner statements and payouts. And then finally, many folks, they come to us to optimize technology, perhaps use our integration platform, but then they also say, "Hey, Jesse, this is challenging stuff, and we've had challenges finding people that can support our accounting function. We'd really love it if you would become our fully outsourced accounting and finance team." And so that's what we do for, say 70 to 80% of our clients, where we act as their full outsourced accounting team, assigning fractional accounting from a fractional AP specialist, fractional staff accountant, fractional senior accountant, accounting manager, and even CFO advisory to support you and help you achieve those financial goals. A little bit more about what that VR accounting service entails. Again, everything from obviously beginning with setting up your accounting system and connecting all the different platforms that are going to make things as efficient as possible. And then we're going to manage everything soup to nuts, from guest invoices and AR and payments, all the way to your owner statement and payouts and your end of month financial reporting and everything in between, sales tax compliance, banking credit card reconciliations, AP management, etc. And so one thing that as you're growing your short-term rental business is, and to think about, is what are your business needs, and what are the business needs specifically where we find people coming to us to solve, where they're frustrated with their current accounting software, be it QuickBooks, and they're looking for ways to solve certain specific needs. Again, the first one is that typically comes up when we start beginning to look at Sage Intacct is multiple businesses or entities. So you might have a vacation rental business, maybe you're also, you have a real estate development business, or you own multiple properties and different funds or different ownership groups, and those need to be accounted for separately. Perhaps you have a design company or a consulting business. When you begin to have these multiple entities, trying to support those different entities in different QuickBooks accounts can become challenging. So we'll get into it later, but Sage Intacct, with its multi-entity environment, allows us to easily consolidate, easily transact in multiple entities at the same time to streamline and simplify multi-entity accounting and reporting. Second is the true trust accounting. If folks might be either frustrated with their current trust accounting processes or system within their property management system, or maybe they have one using a PMS that has no trust accounting at all, we're going to be able to use that multi-entity structure that I just talked about, or functionality that I just talked about, to then bring in all of the different transactions and to support what's going on for your owners and all that money that you're collecting on behalf of other people within a trust accounting entity to support that owner statement reporting and statements of payouts. Second, you may just need better custom reporting and analysis. Maybe you're interested in getting into budgeting and planning and forecasting. These are all the types of items that folks are typically looking to solve when we say, hey, we think Sage Intacct would be a great solution for you. Just speaking about Sage Intacct as a financial management solution, it really provides just numerous ways to optimize and automate our processes and integrate the different technology or applications that are important to streamlining your back office processes. So here are some reasons why some signs you might be outgrowing QuickBooks. First, I talked about earlier, intercompany billing. If you have, even if you're just doing vacation rental management and you're doing trust accounting in another system, or you're keeping spreadsheets to track trust accounting, right? The intercompany billing between your owned properties and your management company. If you're using multiple QuickBooks accounts, that can really create duplicate data entry, easy error, really hard to track intercompany billing. So that's really going to be automated and simplified within Sage Intacct. I just talked about trust accounting and the challenges of supporting true trust accounting, especially if that's important to you from a compliance standpoint or just a cash management standpoint. And finally, from a lack of reporting, QuickBooks can often have obviously challenges to consolidating if you have multiple entities. Also, the lack of customization, real-time insight. Perhaps you're transferring data from your PMS to your QuickBooks environment, so you really don't have good insight into the performance of your business until the 10th, 15th of the month. And that becomes challenging. Finally, perhaps you have advanced needs and functionality. such as fixed assets or project costing and billing, again, for that real estate development, that you're tracking different costs for different people that you're building vacation real estate or commercial real estate for. So that type of advanced functionality is going to support and streamlining those processes and the back-end accounting for those different businesses. Just a few quotes here. Actually, the one on the bottom there is from Evan, one of our clients has been with us for several years now, north of 200 properties, came to us using QuickBooks and Guesty, and so we worked with him. He also has both midterm and short-term properties, so has a bit of different business models that he needed to support, and so he was one of our early adopters that came on with us using Guesty integrated with Sage Intacct to support streamlining owner statements for his homeowners, paying out his vendors, and having better insight into his operations. And so again, I talked a bit about Sage Intacct. Obviously, that's what this is about, but I really want to make sure that we understand Sage Intacct and what it is. It is a financial management solution built in the cloud back in the late 90s. So it's constantly being developed, years and decades now at this point, of a solution that's being developed with better functionality and solutions every day. And many of the things that I've highlighted here, robust dimensions or multi-entity environment that we've talked in detail about, personalized dashboards, which I'll show in just a moment, all the customer reporting, automating many of our processes such as AP, payments, invoicing, billing, consolidated reporting. All these things are the functionality, the core functionality of Sage Intacct that's going to support our vacation rental property management businesses. So enough chatting. Let's jump into the demo and take a spin. So first, I want to just share with you, of course, I got logged out. If we look at the multi-entity environment, typically, now this is just a standard vacation rental environment where we have a trust environment. Again, that's where we're going to hold all of the cash that we're collecting on behalf of our owners. And then also the management company, which obviously is going to track and hold all the everything that's going on within your operations account. This is going to be key to tracking different expenditures that are paid, let's say, by operations on behalf of your different owners, and supporting tracking that money that's due from the trust back to you as the management company, as well as that owner statement reporting. Second thing to understand, and I talked about rich dimensions, but these are all the different dimensions that we have within Sage Intacct. It's actually more available, but these are the key ones that we use within most of our clients. Key one is going to be listings. That obviously is going to be all of your different units that are being tracked either by owners. So perhaps you have this represents one owner that has multiple units, but all of these are the different units that are going to be existing within your property management system. And so we're going to use these dimensions are all tags, if you can think of classes within QuickBooks, and very similar functionality. And we're going to be able to tag all the transactions throughout the system to support, again, that owner statement reporting and in-depth reporting for your management company. Second, got this is a rental dashboard We have a lot of different dashboards, custom dashboards that we set up for folks, but this is showing my rents by property next to the prior year by month, so that I can understand how my different properties are performing on a year-over-year basis. You're also, as reservations are confirmed, we'll show in just a minute, but those are booked in the system, so we can start to see, hey, what's my revenue into the future? So using a check-in revenue recognition policy, for example, we're going to be able to look out into the future and see the revenue that I have booked and compare that to what it was in the prior year. As another example of a dashboard, can be even more robust, and you see here that I have things like properties managed, or number of stays, number of nights stayed. And these are all statistical accounts. They're also available to be posted into Sage Intacct, that really becomes your true source of data to allow us to calculate different KPIs like ADR, even calculate RevPAR, etc. But here we can see again all of my different my rent revenue. That's actually using the check-in date by month, or perhaps I want to look at things from a booking perspective, and what's my revenue using a confirmation date as opposed to check-in date, so I can look at those side by side. Here we have a different KPI tracking. So if we want to look at month over month and see how properties are performing from an occupancy perspective, ADR, RevPAR, etc. The custom reporting and the dimension tagging is all, as combined with the statistical account tracking, is all going to support this robust reporting. Now, all these are fairly customized reports. We do have a lot of standard templates where a lot of reports, when we start working with a company, that come with some standard dashboards and reporting, but part of our onboarding process is to understand, hey, what's important to you, and how do we best support you in building the right reporting, the right configuration of your system to support your ongoing needs. Second is finally, I should say, I'm going to run down to an owner dashboard. And so this obviously is a dashboard showing the various reports that might be included to report to the owner, showing a summary statement, showing their beginning balance, their rents, the management commissions charged, any sort of repairs and maintenance or other property expenses, getting down to their balance due, less any amounts that we've paid out this period, to excuse me, get down to the total balance due to the owner. You can see here that, and I will just pop this out. So if you notice that we can put really anything, any report on a dashboard. They're easy to move around. Really just add a little plus sign, and you can add different, you can add all sorts of things. You can add charts, you can add reports, you can add hyperlinks. Actually, for many of our clients, we'll put an A-frame of the property management system within Sage Intacct, so we can look different things up right within a dashboard. So a very powerful dashboard that you can do a lot with, customize in many different ways. But another nice feature is that any report on the dashboard, you can see here, we can filter this dashboard. We can pull down whatever, look at different owners, switch from one owner to another. Then also I can use this little magnifying glass to blow up a report to see, here we've got, this is effectively our gross profit or net rent due owner, showing the rents by reservation less the management commissions charged calculating the percentage and giving us our net rent due to that owner. And so from there, if I wanted to go, if we want to see, hey, how did that revenue end up in our system? I'm sorry. First, this is the customer that I was just showing. One thing to keep in mind about this is that the customer, what's going to sync, we have custom fields here that we've built to capture the arrival date, the departure date, as well as the confirmation date, as well as we're going to say, hey, what type of customer is this? What was the channel? So here you can see it's HomeAway VRBO. That becomes really important to understanding, from sales tax reporting to just understanding the revenue by your different channels. These tags are going to support that type of tracking. So as I talked about, we can jump over to the invoice for this particular client. Here we have 7/20 would be the date that this reservation was confirmed. Using a check-in checkout. We have this set to do checkout. We can actually do check-in, checkout. There's some functionality that will allow us to also do a per day recognition using the average recognition over the life of a stay. But this one is confirmed on July 20th, 21. They departed on October 1st, and so that is the date that the revenue for this invoice is recognized. You can see that it's tagged to that particular customer. And here we see all the different things that were on that invoice, from accommodation fare to reservation fee, convenience fee, cleaning fees, convenience fees, sales and use taxes, etc. All of these different items are mapped using our integration platform. You're going to map different items to an account within Sage Intacct. You can also map a department. And here we can see that each one of those different items, we can say, hey, does this go to the trust? Meaning this goes to the owner. So this goes to my trust and listing Barefoot Bungalow. Or is this revenue, such as these amenity fees, convenience fees, cleaning fees, etc., that need to be passed along to me as the management company, and I don't want to show them on the owner statement. So we're going to have that flexibility to manage what is passed to who and what gets shown to the owner from a reporting perspective. Second, so again, this is happening automatically and being posted via API from the property management system and or the channel. We do have integrations with Booking.com, Airbnb, VRBO, and multiple property management systems. We're going to bring all that data into our database, and then if we have a direct integration, typically we'll use the channel data ourselves, but then we also use data from your property management system as well to post the different revenue items, as well as certainly payments. And so that was the next thing that I was going to show. Here we can flip to an advanced deposit. This is a payment. It's 1/2 payment. So there's actually 2 payments on this particular reservation, but all payments are originally recorded to advanced deposits, and then upon checkout, they're posted to the invoice. I should also mention, as invoices update or if they cancel, we use different logic depending on what channel it's from. But to update, if it's a reservation that just updates, that's just going to update based on the new information that it's given. Based on, but then we also support cancellations and refunds, certainly depending on which channel that cancellation came from. Airbnb, for example, if it's canceled beforehand and there's no payout, then we're not going to record a refund, but others obviously would. And so that can get a little detailed, but just know that we've built logic to support that. And some of that logic begins with the fact that we also integrate with many merchant processors, Stripe being the most prevalent and one that we, many of our clients use the most. But by integrating also with Stripe, we're able to record batch payouts that are deposited to your bank, and what makes up all those different all the different charges that were deposited in that batch deposit. So here we see the $18,000 that was deposited to the bank, but then that's made up of multiple payments that are being paid out, less various fees. And it doesn't look like I have any here, but if there were refunds, any reserves, any disputes, etc., those would also be coded appropriately to either disputes accounts or reserve accounts, refund accounts, to track those specifically as well. But this really facilitates a great way or easy way to reconcile the cash and understand what you're getting paid for really each invoice. We also have an integration with Booking.com and Airbnb, so we actually post payout deposits from those different channels in a very similar way that we do here for Stripe. Finally, you might have different, obviously there's management commissions. You might have other fees as well, OTA fees. You might be charging the owner for their Stripe fees. Maybe you charge a Stripe fee, or I'm sorry, a supplies fee by guest or by night. All those different fees are going to be able to be set up and supported to be automatically calculated and deducted from the owner statement. So it would just be posted along with what we see here, which is just management commissions, but then you'd have additional additional charges that are charged against this reservation and to this particular owner. As you see, we have the same coding where we've tagged it with that particular customer, the particular department, the location, and the listing, which facilitated this representation here, which is 1,740 less the management commissions of 348 to get to the net rent due to that owner. So let's see. That largely concludes the kind of the meat of what we do from an integration standpoint, grabbing data from property management system, merchant processor, payouts, etc., and posting them to support the owner statement process. Once owner statements are prepared and we have that, if I just jump back to that owner dashboard, and we have that balance due, a bill is created to then pay out this owner, and basically just an AP bill that's processed via ACH, either with whatever way that you choose to process AP. So within Sage Intacct, we can create bills and process bills right within the system. Some of our clients use tools like Ramp or Airbase or Bill.com to facilitate AP, and so those bills would just be approved and processed out of those various AP platforms. But that largely concludes, what I wanted to show you within Sage Intacct. And I've seen several questions, so I thought I'd jump in here and see what we have. First one that I see is from Joe Rizzi. Does Zimplify require a PMS? You're looking to decentralize the functions that PMSs do, but not very well. So we don't require a PMS, although there are certain channels that we support and others that we don't. So Airbnb, Booking.com, VRBO, for example, Expedia. Those are channels that we integrate directly to, and we're able to post directly into Sage Intacct if we need to. We also do connect with Breezeway to support, say, inventory tracking, maintenance tracking, cleaning, all those different bills and billable amounts that might be due to an owner. So we can also support that integration. But so hopefully that answers your question. Probably understanding what channels you're using and how you're planning to get the data. Probably a more in-depth discovery around what you're looking to do and your current setup would be really important. But hopefully that answers your question. I do want to take a moment just to show a few other features of Sage Intacct. I can jump back to keep on getting logged out here. So if I jump into this dashboard here to show the, what you might see if we're looking for actuals versus budget, and we can even get into planning and forecasting. So we can take, maybe we can look at year to date, it's 3/31, but we want to look at what our forecast is for the end of the year. We can pull that all in and present that using the forecast functionality within Sage Intacct. That's really taking what my actual plus my budget for the rest of the year is. And so it takes a level of maintaining what your forecast is or your budget for the remaining of the year is. But that's how that's supported. You can also see here that we've got different computations to help us understand what our gross profit is, what our different percentage of operating costs as a percentage of revenue is. And so all those different types of key ratios to help you understand the performance of your fund. But I thought I'd open it up to see if anybody has any other questions. All right, well, I'm not getting any other questions right now. I did want to share with you something that is actually a new development for us and our integration platform, is that beginning July, August timeframe, we expect to launch our own owner portal. So what we feel is really key is that as your accounting system becomes your true source of data, that you're able to pull that data back out of your reconciled accounting system and present and distribute your different owner statements and owner payouts. And so here you can see, an owner mock-up of our owner portal that shows all, our owner, the unit name, the income, what the status of that owner statement is, and what an actual owner statement could look like. You'll be able to add various columns and customize this from a reporting standpoint, but ultimately the goal here is that we're going to provide an owner statement portal, eventually have even more functionality from a different charts, graphs, filter functionality, etc., for your owners. And you can see here, we say pay. That'll either create an AP bill within your system that you can pay out via, again, whatever AP platform you're using. But this is something that we're excited to launch here just within a few weeks. I see a question that just came on that they use Streamline and the trust accounting is terrible, but understatements and payments are not bad. Would the service replace Streamline understatements? we unfortunately find the accounting functionality within Streamline to be just as challenging as you've indicated that they are. So typically we integrate directly with Streamline, bring that data over. We are a preferred vendor with Streamline. We know that it offers a lot of different functionality that's important, but typically we will integrate directly with Streamline, bring that data over into Sage Intacct to support the trust accounting and the owner statements, as well as the payments. One thing I didn't mention that we think is really important is that beyond just having your revenue, which we talked a lot about AR and payments, advances, et cetera, that are all going to be automated. Beyond that, we also have a lot of, you have a lot of different bills and different things that are going on within your day-to-day operations that need to be billed to an owner. So if we look at what I just did here, is that this is the GL detail on my owner dashboard of all the different work orders and rental expenses for this owner. And so here we have a bill. If I pull this up, and so this is a bill, and it was for an owner, hence why it was coded to Barefoot Bungalow. You can see it was tagged to the listing Barefoot Bungalow 2. So that's just saying, hey, trust is indicating this is for the owner, maintenance, and this $139 was the amount of the bill. Now, what is really key is that this bill being recorded via our automated AP system, again, be that within Sage Intacct, be that within Bill.com, Ramp, etc., works the same way with credit cards. This is going to go directly to the owner statement. So there's no, taking expenses that are flowing through my operating credit card and somehow getting it over into my PMS to get on the owner statement. We're tagging it right from the either the bill or the bank or the credit card and getting that on the owner statement. And then if this bill is then paid, I'm not sure which account this was paid out of. We'll see here in just a minute. So this was bill manager clearing. That is, so that would have been the Bill.com account. And so this is paid out of operations, and therefore this $139 would become an amount due from the trust to the operations for that 139. And then at the same time, you can see that it's that it is deducted from the owner statement. This 1,416 is all of the different repairs and maintenance and rental property expenses that are here on the second part of the owner statement. And so again, that really gets to the idea of streamlining our entire accounting process from AR to AP, credit cards, banks, etc., to support those owner statements. See, another question came in from Devin Miller. And he says, is all this able to be done with QBO as well? He uses QBO for all of his entities. I will say, Devin, certainly there's some features of this functionality that we do support via QuickBooks. So for instance, the AR and revenue, the invoice syncing, there's even ways that we can support a degree of trust accounting. I wouldn't quite call it true trust accounting within QuickBooks. So that is something we can do within VR platform. The reason why we typically help folks that have multiple entities use Sage Intacct is because of that multiple entity structure and struggle when it comes to accounting across multiple entities. So certainly there's a level of things that we can support using QuickBooks, but again, the reason why we prefer Sage Intacct in a multi-entity environment is because of the time savings that is just, it pales in comparison. To give you an idea, I had about 10, 14 entities as a CFO at Cuvée, We had accounting team of 3 doing somewhere around $4 to $5 million a year. We implemented Sage Intacct, Bill.com, and some other applications. We had, when I first arrived, had around a 60 to 90 day close. We tripled the revenue with the same accounting staff and got to a 15-day close with by implementing Sage Intacct and all the applications that I spoke about. So certainly not saying that QuickBooks isn't the right fit for some folks, but to give you an idea of the time savings in reporting and why we typically choose Sage Intacct. I do see another Q&A.
And Jesse, there was one more before that question from Devin coming through from Joe as well. If you want to look at that one.
Okay. Go over the Trust King features layouts later. So I guess I'm not quite understanding, Joe, your question around trust accounting features and layout. That, as far as the trust accounting, the multi-entities is what's going to support that different trust accounting, as well. To show you, I thought I had one up, but I might have lost it. So the trust account really becomes its own entity. So anything that happens within your trust entity, cash being received, AR, advanced deposits, etc., are going to is going to track that trust accounting, and we're going to be able to have various reports associated with the trust accounting. So and then all the owner statements that I just talked about. So here, this is a trust balance reconciliation, for example. It's really the balance sheet of your trust saying, hey, what cash do I have? What AR do I have? These, I think, were some security deposits that were taken. What AP do I have outstanding? Some of that might be payables to owners. If I have any accrued liabilities, accrued taxes, all my advanced deposits, and then what's the amount due back to my management co. And then, hey, what are all my balances that are due to my owners at the end of the month? So, from a trust accounting feature, it's a true double entry trust accounting functionality that, anything that happens within the trust, or even if things are paid on behalf of owners by the operating company, an intercompany payable is automatically created. So from a trust accounting features and layout, that's what it is. It's a true GL entity for trust accounting. So hopefully that makes sense. As far as VR platform, independent of having VR console and vice versa, really successful VR platform integration is dependent upon our consultation and setup support services. So typically those are going to come hand in hand. Pretty hard for us to determine the best way to support you without having that initial consulting or onboarding, but we can get a really good idea of what your needs are just in the sales cycle. So and then we're able to give a pretty good estimate on, hey, what from a setup and onboarding perspective do you need? So hopefully that answers your question there. The other item that I had was, it's a newer STR owner operator with currently only one property, but you have multiple LLCs. This seems more for owners with a large portfolio. Certainly Sage Intacct is geared towards folks that are using, that have 50 or, typically even more than that from a portfolio perspective. If you do have other LLCs, maybe Sage Intacct still makes sense as you get going. Maybe you're doing long-term property management as well as now you're doing short-term, or maybe you have multiple owners or multiple properties and businesses. So, Sage Intacct could make sense from that standpoint. But yes, you are right. If you were just owning one property and you only own one property, probably just integrating with, say, a QuickBooks environment is going to make the most sense. All right. Well, I'll give it a couple minutes here, and if anybody has any other questions, I'll be happy to answer them, but hopefully you've got a good sense of Sage Intacct and why or if it's a good fit for you and your business.